Run, 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 run. He keeps running away. Hey, movie peeps, welcome to NibblenFlix, the podcast where snacks mean cinema. I'm your host, Jeff Fried. This will be a non-spoiler review for the movie The Running Man. And if you know that song and seen the movie, let me know in the comment section below. I'll probably get copyrighted, but hey, I think it's worth it. So let's start munching on the movie The Running Man. In the near future, The Running Man is a top-rated show on TV, a deadly competition where contestants must survive 30 days while being hunted by professional assassins. Desperate for money to save his sick daughter, Ben Richard, who's played by Glenn Powell, is convinced by the show's ruthless producer, played by Brolin, to enter the game as a last resort. Ratings soon rocket as Ben's instinct and grit turns him into an unexpected fan favorite, as well as a threat to the entire system. So The Running Man is directed by Edgar Wright, and he directed films as Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and of course, one of my favorites, Baby Driver. And after watching this amazing presentation at CinemaCon, The Running Man became one of my most anticipated films of the year, especially during the winter season. And it just looks great. The trailer looks awesome that they've been putting it out. When it comes to the marketing aspect, everything that they've done so far was great. I love the catchy song they have in the trailers and all that stuff. So everything they were doing, I actually liked a lot. And, you know, you got Glenn Powell, who's becoming one of these upcoming big stars in Hollywood. You got Josh Brolin playing the villain, and we know how good he is. And the charismatic Coleman, Domingo, was in the film too. I was pretty much like, what else do you need to get yourself excited about this film? The film starts with Ben Richards being blacklisted. You know, he points something out at work that shouldn't have been pointed out, I guess. And sometimes, you know, doing willful blindness is better again. You know, snitches get stitches, I guess. Remember that, kids. Don't remember that. Just do the right thing. But anyway, he's unable to find work, and his daughter is getting really sick, and his wife has to do double duty as a hostess at a local gentleman club. And he gets to the point where he's very frustrated, and he just decides to try out for one of the many networks games shows that they have. But unfortunately for him, he actually tests as well because his anger and his desperation. And he gets selected to do The Running Man. And the catch is he has to survive the 30 days. And if he does, he wins $1 billion. The good. So the good about this movie is entertaining, especially the first two acts of the film. It's basically the high peak of this film. And it brings a lot of things and blends a lot of different genres when it comes to thriller, drama, action, comedy. And it also is based off the Stephen King's book. And the year is actually based in 2025. And look, we're actually in that now. So, and what I like about that, the story builds some tensions and it touches a lot of topics. And what it touches on how the government controls the media or the narrative of basically what we see. It also talks about how the economy is struggling, how the rich is getting richer. The middle class is evaporating and the poor is basically growing because there's no more middle class anymore. Also talks about how crazy expensive the healthcare is and how people can't afford to get regular doctor visits. Like it should be something this basic and easy to get. And it also touches on reality TV and takes digs at it. And I thought that was very interesting because really,
this is America, goddammit!
The performances in this movie were really good, and especially Glenn Powell as the lead playing Ben Richards. And he's just showing why he's this upcoming rising star in Hollywood. And he loves disguises for whatever reasons. He loves playing characters playing another character. That's just his jam.
Who are you? Me? I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. What?
But hey, it works for him. But he's able to show Ben Richards, and he's able to show his range as an actor. He's showing that Ben is broken. He's frustrated. He's going through this whole journey where he's just in it to save his family, and then he realizes there's something more. But the way that he was able to show different parts of his ability to act, the action pieces, and everything else he did in this film, I thought was absolutely superb. And this is why Glenn Powell is in a lot of projects, and he's becoming like I said before, one of the top actors in Hollywood. Josh Brolin, who's not in this movie a lot, but he always brings it every time he's on screen, plays Dan Killian, who is the producer of the network In the original film, he was actually the host and producer, but this time he's just a producer, but he was able to show that he was still that cutthroat producer who really doesn't care about nothing but ratings and making money. And he's willing to do whatever he has to do. He got to stab people in the back to get what he wants. Just no loyalty at all. I thought Josh Brolin played the character very well, showing that this person is very untrustworthy and you just never know what he's going to say or do. Coleman Domingo as Bobby Thompson was an absolute delight, so charismatic, and every time Coleman Domingo's on screen, he just takes all the attention from everything else and you just focus on him. It was absolutely amazing in this film. And he has like a little arc in this film, which wasn't really explained that well, but hey, at least he was amazing, but he did a fantastic job playing the host of the film. And finally, for the good, the cinematography in this film is absolutely gorgeous. I love the color palette that they were using for each of the scenes, showing them what the motion was, the intensity, all that stuff. Certain shots they were using as well, I thought was really good when it comes to cinematography. The music and the soundtrack and the needle drops, I thought it was placed perfectly for each scene. And I thought they blend that very well and they did a great job. And when there is action in this film, the action is good, but we're going to talk about a little bit more about that in the bad. Now the bad. Now for Edgar Wright film, the film felt like he was tamed or handcuffed because it just was missing what makes an Edgar Wright film so enjoyable to watch. Like, he has a distinct style, like the way he does the shooting with the quick movement, how he uses innovative transitions, creative shots when it comes to the action pieces, you know, the music, how he edits certain things, the humor of the film. It's all there, but it just felt very blah for an Edgar Wright film. And for this film, I thought he would bring it, and I was just suspecting more. Maybe because this was an adaptation and not his created own stuff. Maybe that's why he felt hindered. When it comes to like the action pieces in the film, this is a perfect example of why this movie is a little disappointing. It's good, but it was left to be desired. It just felt like there was more good stuff that they could have done when it comes to the action pieces. And there's not a lot of action in this film as the trailers led on to be, so that might be another thing viewers might be disappointed with. It's not a lot of action. But when you do get it, it's good if someone else was directing this film. But you know, when you come to see an Edgar Wright film, you're expecting to see a lot of good artistic, creative ideas when it comes to the whole entire film. One of the parts that was missing some good creative ideas was the action pieces in this film. And so I thought maybe in the third act of the film, he would actually bring it. And well, the third act of the film was a complete mess. It just felt like they just didn't know what to do. They were trying to implement new ideas, and it just didn't work. You know, they were trying to show Ben as his characters who was going through his arc, but they were, instead of just letting it breathe, they were trying to force it, and it just didn't feel right. And then they introduced a character which has absolutely nothing to do, or felt completely worthless, and I don't know why they...
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Added this character. It meant nothing. But it just made the film totally feel different. It didn't feel like the first two acts, and it takes away from what they were building from the first two acts. And then when the ending happens, they actually do like a exposition dump rather than showing you what happened. I feel like they had time to actually show you exactly what was going on when it comes to like the last action piece of the film, and show a more organic way how this movie should have ended in seeing the climax of what happened. But it feels less climactic because they just did an exposition dump rather than show you what it was supposed to be. I just was expecting more out of this film. I was expecting an Edgar Wright level film, and I got notches below that. I still enjoyed the film, but I just expected more, and that's why I was disappointed. The snack worthiness of this film, I have to score it 3 snacks out of 5 because overall, I did enjoy this film. The first 2 acts were good. The performances were great. The action pieces were good, but they could have been better. And I just felt overall that Edgar Wright just felt like it was just handcuffed. He just was tamed. He wasn't really doing what Edgar Wright was doing. And maybe because his adaptation is not his own creation, maybe that's why. In the third part of the film, the third act, it just completely fall off the rails, and it was just very disappointing how the movie ended. But I would still recommend this movie if you really want to see it. I think it's still good film overall. It's just not meeting my expectations of what I thought this film would have been or should be. But other than that, have you seen The Running Man? Let me know in the comment sections below. And until then, keep watching, keep munching, and keep it real. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.